One Piece chapter 1002 is right around the corner, and we just have a few more days to go. So it's about time we can do some predictions and see what we can get right and what we can get wrong. So in this video, let's talk about One Piece 1002 predictions. First of all, the last chapter was a complete hype chapter filled with fights. So it makes sense that we continue some of that fight because this fight that we're having right now is a very important fight for the entire One Piece series because we're having the new generation fighting the old generation, and it's about time the new generation take over the old generation. So in the end of the day, this is a very important fight, and I'm hoping to God that Oda does not off-screen this fight. So I do expect to see the beginning parts of the next chapter to be a continuation of the fight. Now, it is possible that we will shift away from the fight, just like we did with the scabbards. This is the beginning of the fight, so we're probably going to wait it out. Maybe we'll move into some other things that we're supposed to be covering, and then we'll go back to the fight after a while. It's possible, or we'll just get snippets of the fight in between these other parts. Now, basically, I do want to see fights between Yonko and the Supernova. Kaido transformed into his dragon form. He obviously doesn't think that these guys are much of a threat, and he's still underestimating them, and he just transformed into his dragon form. That dragon form is pretty much not useful. The scabbards were completely cutting him left and right. All it does is provide a bigger picture, bigger real estate for these guys to land hits on. And none of the attacks that Kaido is going to use in his dragon form is going to do much because Zoro has the ability to cut fire now, just like Kinemon. So Kaido's Boro Breath is useless, Big Mom's Prometheus is useless, and to be honest, I don't know how much her Lightning Zeus is going to do because Zeus was not effective on Brook. And I don't think there's any Haki involved because Brook was just fine because he didn't have skin apparently, and I'm pretty sure Lightning does not affect Luffy because, of course, we already saw it from Enel. It doesn't matter how strong the lightning is, it's not going to affect Luffy. Fire doesn't affect Luffy as much either because technically rubber should be able to handle fire. So Big Mom is going to have to put in work again. She's gonna have to use Haki and maybe some other devil fruit manipulations. She's gonna have to start using Napoleon. She hasn't used Napoleon on these guys again. But at the end of the chapter, she was having the flaming sword, and she was getting kind of serious, I think. So we can see where it goes. We'll see how it goes. But for Kaido, he does have some lightning attacks, some invisible wind sights. That was the one that cut off Okiku's arm. So it's possible that we'll see some of that attack again. And if he uses the wind sight attack, probably Killer and Zoro will be able to block it. Hopefully. I hope to see some more attacks from Kid, Zoro, Luffy, all these guys. But honestly, I don't know how much of that we'll see. It is wishful thinking because last chapter was all fights. We saw nothing of Zoro. I mean, we saw nothing of Sanji, Jinbei. These are all important things that we need to get to. So I don't think the next chapter will necessarily be all about fights. If it is, I would be very excited, but we'll have to swallow our losses this time. Now, the other things that I want Oda to get to is all pretty obvious. Like we all want to see Sanji. We want to see what he's going to do. We want to see how he's going to get out of his situation. Honestly, I still stand by that he has to get out of the situation himself. I don't want Robin or Nami coming in and helping him and getting him out, and then him going to fight someone else. It's about time he learned to deal with these situations himself. He knows his weakness and he has to conquer them. That's how we grow. He doesn't necessarily have to go fight her. He doesn't necessarily have to, change completely, but he has to learn to overcome his weaknesses or find solutions. That's all I'm saying. Then another very important thing is Jinbei versus Who's Who. Jinbei and Who's Who have a history, and I want to see more about that. And I'm hoping to see some of that get explained in this chapter. Maybe even have a mask reveal his mask. I honestly don't know what is going to be hiding under the mask because all it's hiding is his upper face and his eyes. That's not enough to make him look completely different. But we'll see what Jinbei is going to remember, what history they have. That's going to be pretty interesting because the warlord system has been abolished, and this guy, who seems to have some kind of relationship with the warlords. He could have been a candidate for the warlords, and maybe Jinbei took his place instead. That could be a case. Or he wanted to be a warlord and he couldn't get it. Something like that is possible. Another situation that we need to get to is, of course, Nami, Usopp, and Komainu, along with, what was her name? Otama. Otama seems to have a plan, and she has a plan, and she's leading them somewhere, and Nami seems to think that this plan is good, so she wants to follow with Otama's plan. I want to see what plan this is because Otama says that she arrived to Onigashima on an enemy ship. So, is it possible that she brought her, servants, the smile servants that she created in Udon? Did she bring them in the enemy ship and the enemies never realized it because they are smile users and they are part of Kaido's army? But she smuggled them inside and she has an army waiting for her. It is possible, or it could be that the Kibidango Usopp situation where he snipes it into the people's mouths. That is pretty obvious. I don't think Oda is going to go through that route. So we'll have to see about that. I really want to see what Otama has planned. Now, also another situation is uh, what was his name? The Scabbards. The Scabbards are underground or below the dome. They have been transported. Someone is going to have to take a look at them and heal them probably. And then the best person would be Chopper. So if they got transported all the way down to Chopper, where Chopper is, he's already busy creating antibodies for the Ice Demon. So he would be able to heal them, and they could come back and help later on because right now Onigashima is floating all the way back to the flower capital. So eventually at some point in the future of the series we're going to reach Wano, or the flower capital. At that time it's going to be very chaotic, and the civilians are going to get involved, so we need more members. The battle has just begun technically, so we have a lot more to go. Another thing I also want to get into is Momo's situation. Momo now has his hands on Odin's journal. So, what is in the journal? What is the importance of that? Is Momo going to be relevant anymore? Because technically the war has begun, and he, as a child, has no place in the war zone. He needs to be protected. He needs to be taken out of the picture, and till the end of the story, he has to be protected and kept safe. He is not able to fight, and as long as he remains in Onigashima, as long as he remains around the enemies, he's going to be a liability for the Straw Hats and the Alliance because they have to protect him. And if he's dead, the Alliance pretty much breaks down. So, Momo situation, Hiyori situation, where is she hiding? We want to see a little bit of that. I really don't think we'll be getting any of that in chapter 1002 because we just came out of that in chapter 999. So, we'll have to wait and see where that goes. But strictly speaking, for chapter 1002, I don't think the Wano Act 3 is going to end anytime soon because we just started the fight with the Yonko. Oda is saying waiting for something else to happen. Something major is going to happen before Wano Act 3 ends. And in my mind, I think that Luffy and the Supernova are going to get defeated. That's why, or they're going to get overwhelmed and they're going to be bloodied up and they're going to get almost on the verge of defeat. That's when the third act will end as a suspense cliffhanger, something like that. Because what else do we have to end Wano Act 3? Another possibility also is that maybe the act will end as soon as Onigashima reaches the flower capital and Kaido's ready to drop it. It's going to be cataclysmic and it's going to be a huge cliffhanger. So that would be a proper point to end the arc. I mean, the end the act. But I'm not so sure how that's going to play. In this chapter, however, Wano Act 3 is going to continue. I'm going to expect a lot of fights. We're going to have to see what Frankie and Sasaki are doing. We're going to have to see Black Maria and Sanji, Who's Who and Jinbei, and probably Marco. Marco handling Queen and King. He really cannot stand against both of them if they're actually, full power. But he was able to stall them for a bit, and maybe he'll escape. Maybe he'll go help Chopper. Not sure at the moment. I do hope we'll see Marco though, because We want to see what he's going up to do, because he himself does not have a clue what he's there for. He doesn't know why he's going to be, what use he is going to be for, and he could be the one to heal the scabbards and Izo. So he could have a bigger role other than just running around fighting people. He is a doctor in the end of the day, so maybe we'll see more of that. Other than that, I really don't have any story-wise predictions, because right now we're in the fighting stage of the war. Usually every arc has their stages. Like in the beginning of the arc, we have the introduction and the exploration. Luffy and the Straw Hats go around introducing people. We get introduced to the cast, we get introduced to the landscape, and after that we get the little bit of the seriousness of the arc. Like we learn the real problems of the people, we see the real issues, we see the villain, and then we move on to a little bit of planning, and we move on to the training stage, and then we move on to the final climax, which is the fighting. And we're pretty much in the final stage of this arc, the war. Big Mom and Kaido. To be honest, I still don't see both of them going down in this arc, because both of them are Yonko, both of them are extremely strong. They've been built up time and time again to be the top of the verse, the Yonko. So them losing to a few supernova who just trained a couple of weeks ago would not make any logical sense. But then again, this is a war between the supernova versus the Yonko, the old generation versus the new generation, and eventually the old generation has to go down. So it could start here, or maybe we could see the old generation actually get dethroned completely in Elbaf. My theory is that Big Mom will stay relevant and she will escape. She will steal Kaido's poneglyph, she will leave, and she'll go into Elbaf. The Straw Hats will chase after her in Elbaf. They'll make allies with the Giants, because the Giants hate Big Mom, and they'll all team up and probably defeat Big Mom. Shanks is gonna be there, some kind of situation. We'll see where it goes. So as of chapter 1002, expect a lot of fights. We probably will be moving away from Big Mom and Kaido, the whole Roof Gang, because we just had a whole chapter of that. We might have more of that here and there, but I don't think it's going to be completely a fight with the Roof team. We'll probably see some of the other fights a little bit, because as much as I want to see a lot of the Roof fights, I really don't want to miss out on the other fights, because I really want to see Sanji grow up. I really want to see Sanji take advantage of the raid suit, because this is his chance to show off. If he uses the raid suit, he has a way of getting away from them and then tricking them into fighting each other, or just doing something that they won't bother him anymore. So the raid suit is going to be useful. He turns invisible on all of that stuff. And then you have Jinbei's history. We want to see all of that. I don't want to see any of these things off screen and just coming back to it, and then, oh, Jinbei already defeated who's who, and then we move on. That would be terrible. Want to see a little bit of that. And I also want to see Robin do something other than just run around. Robin needs a fight with someone. It's about time. So let's hope and see what happens. And in a couple of days we'll find out. And when the chapter comes out, I will make a review as usual, and we'll see how much of this we got right and how much of this we got wrong. Most of this prediction is pretty basic, so I don't think we'll get too much wrong. We'll have to wait and see. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in another one. Bye.